What if I told you that the voice in your head saying, "Who am I to teach this?" is actually stealing your calling and robbing others of your help? Give me 25 minutes and I'll show you how to silence the imposter syndrome forever with evidence and not emotion, and how to build confidence to start your digital business today. And I'm not talking about fake it till you make it strategies, but know it because you've lived it. Not comparing yourself to others, but recognizing you're further along than you think you are. If you've ever hesitated to share what you know because somebody else knows more, today we're going to set the record straight. Here's what you'll walk away with in the next 25 minutes. Your 10 wins evidence log that proves you're qualified to help others, the 3-story formula that turns your experience into compelling proof points, the 1-step ahead framework that redefines what makes you the perfect voice for your audience, and the identify first approach from Psalm 139 that settles down this question forever. But first, be honest with me. What's one thing you know you could help someone with right now, but you've been holding back because you don't feel expert enough? And comment below, because I want to hear what you're saying, I want to know where you are, and I want to show you why that hesitation is actually proof you are ready to start your digital business. And stay with me, because today I'll show you exactly how Esperanza went from "I'm just a mom who knits" to confidently creating a digital business, teaching over 200 women traditional crafts, and making all over $4,000 a month doing what Abuela taught her in her kitchen. You were called for more, to serve people, to create value, to live generously, and to follow Jesus with freedom. But right now, you're second-guessing your expertise, minimizing your experience, and letting perfect strangers profit from knowledge you've been given away for free. Hi, I'm Salime, and this is Freedom to Follow, your weekly 25 minutes to learn how to start from scratch a digital business, to recognize the expert you already are, and to build confidence that serves others without waiting for permission from anyone. For over 20 years and across 3 continents, I've built online businesses and digital platforms that let me live into my calling, and I've helped hundreds of hermanas do the same with practical, proven, step-by-step systems. Every week and over a cafecito, you'll get one clear plan, one small realistic action, and one metric to track, so you stop doubting what you know and start building a digital business simply sharing what you've already learned. Everything we talk about today is available at www.salime.global. So don't forget to download the ultimate guide to your digital business, plus today's show notes. And if you stay with me to the end, there's a surprise resource waiting for you that will help you start your business, start your first sale with what you already have in your phone. Now, let's move from doubting what you know to owning what you've learned, shall we? Let's be honest with what's happening in your heart right now. You're not avoiding teaching because you don't know anything. You're actually avoiding it because you know somebody else out there knows more. And in our culture, in our families, we were taught that speaking up when you're not an absolute expert is arrogant, presumptuous, and disrespectful. Girl, I've been there, right where you are, raised with "don't act like you know it all." Taught that humility means staying quiet unless you're the most qualified person in the room. For years, I had valuable knowledge about digital marketing and about building digital businesses internationally, about navigating systems in all sorts of environments. I had experience, but every time I thought about teaching it, that voice would whisper, "There are people out there with MBAs who know more. There are people with more experience. There are people who went to better schools." I was actually giving my knowledge away for free to friends, family, and anybody who asked. But charging for it, teaching it formally, that felt like claiming an expertise that I hadn't quite earned. Now, the breakthrough came when I was having yet another conversation about building digital businesses in a mini conference, and my son said, "Mom, what you were teaching was actually really amazing. How do you know so much about this?" And I had to stop and explain to him that I've been in this space since 2004. You do the math. My friend who was listening to us assented and said, Salime, you keep waiting to be the most qualified person to teach this, but the person who needs your help isn't looking for the most famous qualified teacher. They're looking for someone who understands them because you have been them. That's when I realized that imposter syndrome is not protecting anyone from bad teaching. It's actually protecting bad teachers from competition. The people who really shouldn't be teaching, they don't actually have imposter syndrome. They don't question whether they're qualified or not. Many of them may not even have experience in the field, believe me. I've met them. The fact that you're worried about serving people well is actually proof that you are ready. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. You don't need to be the world's utmost expert. You can't. It's impossible. You just need to know a bit more from those that you are teaching. And hermana, you are more qualified than you think you are. But before we go deeper, let me show you something that changed how I think about expertise, calling, and confidence, especially as somebody who learned most of what I know in this space outside of traditional classrooms. And as always, we're going to go to the Bible because as Christians, we do everything in light of God's word. First, let's talk about identity. Psalm 139, 13-16. Soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, intricately woven in the earthly depths. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me. And as yet there was none of them. This is super important because this happens to me, and I've seen that this happens to a lot of people where we think that our calling gives us our value. Yet, here we see that your identity was established before your activity. Your worth was determined before your work. God equipped you with specific knowledge, specific experiences, and specific insights before you ever thought about monetizing them. Your worth comes from God, not from what you do, even if you're doing it for God. And that is our identity. That's where we need to start when we're thinking about digital business. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians 8:1. See, the issue is not whether you know enough. It is whether you're sharing what you know with. The person who teaches with genuine care for their students will always be more effective than the person who teaches just to prove how much they know. And then here's something that completely transformed my thinking. 2 Timothy 2:2. See, Paul did not tell Timothy to wait until he was the most qualified teacher in the whole region. He told him to pass on what he had received. Not everything that could be known, because again, that's impossible. We're not God. But what he had learned and lived. And this is actually talking about the discipleship model. You teach what you've learned to people who are where you used to be. Let me say this again. You teach what you've learned to people who are where you used to be. Let me prove you that this is how we actually do life. A mother doesn't wait until she's a child psychologist to teach her kids how to do life. A grandmother doesn't get a culinary degree before passing down the family recetas. They teach from experience, from relationship, and from love. And here's the beautiful part. God does not waste experiences. That struggle you went through, that skills you developed, that system you figured out, that degree you got, He allowed you to learn it so you can help others learn that too. That's called human flourishing, and I love it. Because your expertise does not come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing something valuable that someone else needs to learn. It's service at its core. It's love for human flourishing, love to see them become what God has made them to be by sharing what you know. It is truly beautiful. Now let me tell you about Esperanza, one of my clients, because her story will show you exactly what I mean. Esperanza was a 45-year-old stay-at-home mother of 3 whose grandmother had taught her traditional Mexican needlework. Embroidery, crocheting, knitting patterns that had been passed down for generations, beautiful, intricate work that took patience and skill. When Esperanza's youngest daughter started school, she found herself with few extra hours and started making items for her friends and for church fundraisers. People constantly asked her to teach them, but Esperanza was always like, oh, no, I'm not a teacher. I just learned this from my abuela. Now, the breaking point came when Esperanza saw someone selling a traditional Mexican embroidery online course for $297. The instructor had clearly learned all of what she knew from YouTube videos and was making basic mistakes that Esperanza could spot immediately. Esperanza was super frustrated, but she told herself, well, she probably went to art school or something. But then Esperanza's teenage daughter said something that changed everything. She said, "Mom, you've been doing this for 30 years. You know more about this than most people will ever know. Even this YouTube person. Why are you acting like you're not an expert?" I love it. Aren't our kids the best? So Esperanza realized she was waiting for permission that will never come. It was never coming. So we started talking. Month 1, we started with Esperanza's evidence log, just like I'm about to teach you. She documented 10 concrete wins, everything from teaching her daughter's friends to create pieces for community art shows to restoring vintage pieces that seamstress said it was impossible to fix. On month 3, Esperanza created her first mini course, 5 traditional stitches every beginner should master. It was super simple, practical, taught from her kitchen table, shot from her house. She charged $47 and she had 23 students the first month. All were women from her church and her community networks. Month 6, the word was spreading through social media, through parenting books, through Facebook groups, through her church, and Esperanza was teaching through her pre-recorded videos over 50 women per month, sharing not just techniques, but actually, beautifully, the stories behind every stitch, the cultural significance, the family traditions. She was making over $2,000 monthly from videos she had recorded on month 3. Of course, she was not sitting down doing anything and counting money, but her digital business was working for her. Now, by month 12, Esperanza launched her signature program, Abuela's Hands, traditional needlework for modern women. She teaches 40 women per cohort in her church 4 times a week at $197 per person. She's making right now over $31,000 a year teaching these cohorts, and the $2,000 to $3,000 per month teaching what her grandmother taught her in between cooking dinner and watching telenovelas. What matters the most is that Esperanza's students don't want to learn from some art school graduate who learned this from textbooks. They want to learn it from someone who learned it from her grandmother's hands, who understands the culture, and who can teach not just technique, but actually the heart behind it. Esperanza didn't need a degree in textile arts. She needed to recognize that 30 years of practice and of cultural knowledge and of grandmother's wisdom makes her uniquely qualified to teach what she knows. So, I bet this is your story. This is actually my story today. This is what I started doing, this teaching digital business, because this was my story. So let me teach you the exact framework I developed. It's called, another framework for you, the Imposter's Layer Framework. And if you don't like the titles, just let me know, because I am just trying to help you, and some of these titles might be a little bit corny, but this is how we slay the imposter syndrome forever. Now remember, this isn't about building fake confidence, it's about documenting real competence that you have. So, step 1. The 10 wins evidence log. For the next 7 days, write down every time somebody has asked for your advice or help, complimented for your work, referred someone else to you, paid you, even informally, for your expertise, thanked you for solving a problem they couldn't solve, commented about your natural ability in this area, chosen you over other available options, asked you to teach them, trusted you with something important in your field, acknowledged some results or improvements they made because of you. And I want you to write specific examples, because as Latinas, as hermanas, we tend just to jot whatever comes down to our mind first. I'm not asking you to say, people ask me about organizations. No. I want you to say, Maria asked me how to help organize her closet after she saw mine, and she said it changed her whole morning routine. I want you to be specific and clear. And at the end of this week, you should have at least 10 concrete examples or more that prove that you have experience and passion in something. Now, step 2, the story transformation. I want you to take your 3 strongest examples and turn them into 2-line stories using this formula. Line 1, the problem or the situation. And line 2, the outcome or result you helped create. So for Esperanza, her examples were: a friend bought me a vintage rebozo that 3 seamstress said was impossible to repair. I not only restored it, but taught her daughter the traditional stitches she needed to maintain it herself. Another example: when my church needed decoration for Christmas, I designed and taught 6 women how to create matching embroidering pieces. Members of my church said these pieces were exquisite and wanted to buy them for their own houses. A last example so you get what I want you to do. My neighbor's teenage daughter was struggling with anxiety, so I taught her basic crochet. She now makes prayer shawls for cancer patients and says that the repetitive motion helps calm her mind. Man, this is so beautiful. And this is literally the stories of transformation that will help you understand that you have expertise and that it is valuable. Now, I want you to have a reality check that you're one step ahead. So list some people who could benefit from what you know, from what we've been talking about, who are exactly where you were 1, 2, 3 years ago, who is struggling with what you figured out a couple of years ago, who is trying to learn what you learned 5, 10 years ago, and who needs to know what took you months or years to figure out. Again, remember, you don't need to teach PhD students. You need to teach people who are where you used to be. That is what teaching, what a digital business is. You have something that you need to teach people who are where you used to be. And now let's just kill comparison. You need to write down what you have learned through experience that cannot be taught in textbooks, what you have learned through your culture or your family, what you have learned through struggle that gives you empathy that others might lack, what you have learned through practice that theory cannot replicate. And sure, what you have learned through academic development, actual classes. Though obviously it's all in the theme that people are asking you to help them with, but you will see that you actually have something really valuable. In Esperanza's case, she said, experience, 30 years of actually doing the work, not just studying it. Culture, I understand why these stitches matter, not just how to do them. Struggle, I learned as a working mom with limited time and limited resources. Practice, thousands of hours with needle in hand created muscle memory and intuitive knowledge. This shows that she does not need to compare herself to others, but that she actually has something valuable to offer. And for step 5, I want you to create your I am qualified because statement. I am qualified to teach whatever topic you want to teach, or you know how to teach, because I have specific experience, specific years. I have helped specific people achieve specific results, and I understand this from a unique perspective that my ideal student needs to learn. Let me tell you Esperanza's statement. It was, I am qualified to teach traditional Mexican needlework because I have 30 years on hands-on experience learning from my grandmother and practicing these techniques. I have helped dozens of women create beautiful pieces and connecting them with their cultural heritage. And I understand both the technical skills and the cultural significance that most instructors miss. Man, this is great. She has something valuable to teach. Esperanza's evidence log had 47 examples of people recognizing her expertise over 7 days. She'd been giving away her knowledge for free for years, never realizing how valuable it was until she did this framework. The reality is that you don't have to become an expert by getting a certificate. You become an expert by getting results. And you've been getting results for longer than you think. That is why I want you to do these exercises. And that is what people want to learn, how to get the results that you have been getting with all your experience. You don't need to know everything. You need to know more than the person you're teaching. Care about their success and have evidence that your approach actually works. This happens all the time. A mentor doesn't know everything. They know what their mentee needs to learn next. A mother doesn't have a PhD in child development. She has experience raising specific children. A disciple-making person does not always have a seminary degree. They have a relationship with Jesus and a deep desire to help others grow. You teach from where you are to people who are where you were, and they need to be where you are. Not from perfection or knowing it all, but out of love. So for this week, I need you to download the Imposter Slayer framework and start with your 10 weeks evidence log. I want you to complete your log with historical examples, times people have recognized your expertise over the past year or the past week. Transform your 3 strongest examples into 2-line statements using the formula, and write your I am qualified because statement for this week. Start each week with this identity practice before checking social media or comparing yourself to others. Read Psalm 19 and thank God for the specific experiences and knowledges He's given you to steward. Remember, your value does not come from what you do or what you have learned, but because God has made you in His image. Here's what I believe that God wants you to understand this week, hermana. God didn't give you experiences to waste them. He gave them to steward them. The struggle you went through, the skill you developed, the wisdom you've gained, the degree you have, it's not just for you. It is for the person who needs to learn what you have learned. This is how I built confidence to teach across continents and cultures. This is how Esperanza went from just a mom, stay-at-home mom who knits, to a confident teacher earning $4,500 a month. And this is how you're going to step into your expertise with evidence and not emotion, with documentation and not with doubt. Your calling is not waiting for you to know everything. It's waiting for you to own what you already know. You do not need more credentials. You need more confidence in the credentials that God has already given you through your life experience. The person who needs your help doesn't want to learn from the world's most famous expert. They want to learn it from someone who remembers what it's like to be where they are, who understands their specific struggles, and who cares about their success more than their reputation. And that someone, sister, is you. You've been qualifying yourself through experience while waiting for someone else to qualify you through permission. The permission you've been waiting for is in the exercise that I will put in the show notes for you to download. You already have it. Now, I know you've probably heard countless messages about fake it till you make it and confidence building exercises, but what we talked about today with Esperanza's story is different. This is about recognizing the expert you already are instead of becoming someone you think you should be. Your expertise isn't measured by comparing yourself to others. It's measured by your ability to help the specific people God has called you to serve. And hermana, you have more ability than you think. So head over to www.salime.global and grab the ultimate guide to your digital business and today's complete show notes with the exercises. Everything that I shared today about the Imposter Slayer framework is there all for you. And don't forget the surprise resource I mentioned, the WhatsApp plan, my 7-day starter to make your first sales using the contacts you already have. It has day-by-day prompts, DMs that you can copy and paste, gentle follow-ups, and a simple tracker so you see progress. You'll find that at www.salime.global/WhatsApp plan. All together, WhatsApp plan. Get it today because it will not stay there forever. Your knowledge is not waiting for you to get more degrees. Your expertise isn't waiting for you to know everything. Your calling isn't waiting for you to get more confident. Your calling is waiting for you to steward what you already know with confidence, love, and evidence-based conviction that you can get with this exercise. It starts documenting what you've learned, owning what you've accomplished, and serving from where you are instead of where you think you should be. I hope this helped to see yourself more clearly. This is Salime, and I'll see you on next week on Freedom to Follow. Goodbye.